Hello, fellow Whovians, and welcome to the first of our many holiday specials running throughout the month of October. And we have a special treat for you tonight, because for tonight, you'll be able to interact with our panel, which has a very, very, very important question. Tonight, we're going to be asking the doctor, with the help of the panelists, if they believe in ghosts. But the question is, do you believe in ghosts as well? We're going to be answering that question now. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS, took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. During the 1996 TV movie, there was a little scene at the very end where the Eighth Doctor goes down a flight of steps inside the TARDIS, and he mentions to his companions, I don't believe in ghosts. Flash forward to Under the Lake with the 12th Doctor, and he says that the aliens in the actual episode might be ghosts. This is not the first time that the Doctor has had conflicted information whether he or she, at this moment, believes in ghosts. So the question is, do you believe in ghosts? Or could you convince the Doctor that he or she should believe in ghosts? And that's the question for tonight with all of our panelists tonight. A wonderful group of panelists. Let's introduce them. First of all, going to my left. Oh, I got it right for the first time. I pointed left, and I got left there. There is Mr. Brian K. Morris of the Rising Tide production. How you doing there, Brian? Welcome to the show there. You can catch him at you do shows Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Never mind the furthermore. You also do a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I'm not mistaken, at night, clever title pending. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Why, if anyone could, it's probably me. Thank you, Christian, for having me here. Never mind the furthermore is a 3 times a week interactive talk show where you make comments, I read them on the air, and we also encourage you to promote yourself, whatever you've got going, whether it's your business, your creative endeavors, your Kickstarter, whatever. Come on down and talk it out with us. And on Tuesday nights, we do Clever Title Pending at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tonight, after this show, we're going to have the wonderful fantasy writer Michaela J. on talking about her journey into independent publishing. It's going to be a rollicking however many words we can fit into a couple of hours.
Gotcha there. And also, you have a little bit of expertise in the paranormal because of this book, The Haunting Scripts of Bachelor's Grove. Tell us a little bit about that book and your paranormal experiences.
Well, yeah, well, I did, actually. I tell people officially that I don't disbelieve. I'm leaving the door open. But I've actually visited Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which is in the southwest Chicago suburbs. And look up bachelorsgrove.com. And you'll see a lot of the legends that revolve around this haunted cemetery. It's basically an abandoned cemetery. There hasn't been an interment in over 30 years, but there's been vandalism, satanic rituals being performed there, criminal activities. Some of the bodies may have been stolen, and also phenomena that have been seen not just by what I call the weekend ghostbuster, somebody who buys like a $5 radon detector or whatever and thinks he's Egon Spencer or whatever. These are journalists, trained observers who have seen some of the phenomena. And the last time I went up there with some friends, I actually experienced some of it in some of my electronics were not functioning in certain areas of the cemetery. And I experienced what we were calling a time slip, where two of us can be walking parallel to each other. You look, the other one is gone. And then you go a little further down the way, and suddenly they are back, and they don't remember seeing you either. So
that's just a day at the Florida Mall. I meant
well, yeah, but I live in Indiana, so we don't have that here. That's one of the attractions here. You know, they said, hey, none of that time slip stuff. That's why I had to go back to Illinois to get it. So, you know, I'm not vouching for them.
And we're introducing the lovely Melanie Dean. You can check out all of her great stuff, not only behind her back if you're watching us on the YouTube or the Facebook channel, but you can also check out her Instagram at Pieces of Melee. Duh. How can you just you got to check it out. She's got some great stuff over there. And occasionally, if you check out her Facebook page, she will be doing live artistry, including some cake work. Melanie, how you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. I hope everybody else is doing well as well. How many times I can say well in a sentence? I'm kind of looking over on the side chats, and we've already got some viewers saying hello, but I'll pop those up in a bit. But yeah, you can find me on Pieces of Melee. You can find my Etsy shop there. You can find my Instagram there, my Facebook page there. As Christian alluded to, I also do a lot of baking on the side as well, and that's actually a cake art with an E. So Cake, ARTE LLC on the Facebook page there. You just go on this page, and I link up everything. But yeah, you can watch me create and craft and all that fun stuff.
Now, coming back, and it's been a long time, is Mr. Gene Turbo of Krypton Radio. And you can check out our episodes on Krypton Radio as they premiere first on Krypton Radio every Saturday. Make sure you go to kryptonradio.com to check out times in your location. Gene, welcome back there. You were on our very first show. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yes, I was. It's been 2 years.
I know that. And keep that in mind, because I have an announcement in our final segment about that there. How you doing there, Gene? Busy, it looks like, from everything in the background.
Yeah, I keep busy. I have unlike a lot of people who who fill their bookshelves with interesting titles to look at. These are all working stuff. I have to lay hands on reference material all the time. So this is a working library. No, we're doing great. Krypton Radio is up to, I think we're averaging 85,000 listeners a month now.
Wow.
And yeah, we've been in operation since 2009, April of 2009. So we've been on the air for 11 and a half years, roughly. And no, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Oh, and I also wrote the theme song that you heard.
I know there. And if you've also
listened to the Traveling TARDIS music.
Yeah, the Target. That's fine. Yeah. It's all right. It's been a long day there. Now, also, if you've been listening to the
Legend of the Traveling Walmart. I don't know.
Okay.
I slip of the
That's
lip
a new one. Well,
Yeah.
Also, if you've been listening to our theme, you also know that Krypton Radio and the Hanging with Web show, Web TV Media Group, are also our sponsor, also our producers. So they make sure that this show continues to run every single time we put out an episode there. And hopefully we do it every week out there. Speaking of every week, because I have no segue, I want to introduce Melissa Kennedy. You can check her out. Oh, wow. That's not the way I wanted to introduce that. You can check her out, and that skeleton is probably doing that so well, on parahousetv.com. And you just sent me that information there. Melissa, tell us about yourself and tell us about the UFO women.
Yeah, good morning, or good morning, good night, whatever time zone you guys are in. It doesn't matter. It's a long day. Well, anyway, I'm the creator and owner of Parahouse TV. It is a brand new paranormal network. We have podcasts, we have original series, all paranormal related. I also am the founder of UFO Hunters of America, which is a nonprofit organization. And we have the new Parahouse magazine. I'm also known as the UFO woman. I'm a paranormal investigator and a UFO hunter and an author and a publisher.
And I'm digging the background over there. You have looks like a
Parahouse. Yeah, this is the Parahouse studio.
Okay.
Where I do all of the pre-show host for all of our shows. We have, we have 16 shows right now. We have about 15,000 views a week. And we've only been about 3 weeks in the making. So we're brand new, ParaHouseTV.com. So.
Gotcha.
Thanks for having me, Christian.
Oh, no. Thank you for coming on over here. And again, tonight's topic, if you want to be a part of the chat there, again, the question is, Doctor, do you believe in ghosts? How would your experiences with the Doctor, how would you explain to the Doctor what you saw was paranormal? And do you believe in ghosts? And how would you have a conversation with the Doctor to see if that would translate into something that the Doctor would believe or not? So without further ado, ladies first, I'm going to start with Melanie. Melanie, just flat out, do you believe in ghosts?
I want to believe. That's the best way I'm going to put it, because I've worked on a couple of different film sets where the place had to have been haunted. It just had this creepy feeling. It had a creepy vibe about it. And many 2 movies. The first movie was 100 Tears, which is a horror film. I did it with Marcus Cook and Joe Davison. We filmed that on many different locations, but the main location was in Tampa at the Olivia Cigar Factory.
Oh, okay.
So it's the oldest wooden. I think it's the only one left. Oldest wooden cigar factory in Florida, in the state of Florida. That one was that was haunted. And the other movie was called Unearthed. That was also, and that one was directed by Craig Koepp. Also worked with Marcus and Joe on that one as well. It's actually where I met Joe. That was actually done also in Tampa near, the building was actually the old Westinghouse manufacturing. So way back when, Westinghouse, the powerhouse that it is, they actually had done a lot of naval ships. They were actually a shipyard over here in Tampa, and the building, it's now gone. It's now condos, but that was another place where we were doing overnight shoots for both films. You're there, 10, 12, 16, 24 hours filming. And so from day to night, it's weird things would happen, and different people on set, whether it was different cast members, crew members, extras, all over the place. They would coming and going, would see stuff, or weird things would happen. Weirdest thing that would happen for us at the Olivia was that the old non-working elevator would start working and follow us there was 3 stories, and it would just follow us wherever we were. So if we started shooting on the 3rd floor, all of a sudden it would power up and just move to the 3rd floor. And then we would move back down the 1st. They would power up and just go to the 1st. So weird, creepy kind of stuff like that. And so I believe in them. I haven't seen them. So I kind of go with I want to believe, because I've been surrounded by that hair-raising, weird kind of feeling. So there's my answer.
So you're kind of like, I want to believe, there's evidence, but I
want to see one, damn it.
You want to see one, damn it, there.
That's my answer. There we go.
Everybody totally understand there. Brian K. Morris, I have a question for you. Do you believe in ghosts? When we return to the legend of the Traveling TARDIS, when we get back, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and Brian will answer that question for you. And please don't forget, oh, hey, Cindy, lurk. When we return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and continue to become part of the legend.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today. Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com.
Ooh. Don't forget, we have a special episode of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. It'll be taking place this coming Tuesday, the 27th, with a live feature from the troupe Phantasmagoria. Do not forget that. You want to mark that on your calendars. October the 26th. I'm sorry, October the 27th, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You do want to check that out. By the way, if you're watching this on the live feed, and if you're watching this on Facebook, on the YouTube channel, don't thank us. Thank our friends at geekinsider.com. Don't forget to subscribe and tell them the Legend of Traveling TARDIS sent you.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And welcome back to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, folks. My name is Christian Basil, and welcome back to our team. The question for this episode is, Doctor, do you believe in ghosts? We were finishing up with Brian K. Morris, and I could have some fun with that there.
It's like one of those 70s music videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There. Brian, the question goes to you, sir. Do you believe in ghosts?
Well, I'm going to fall back on my my standard answer, and I don't disbelieve. Now, I did about a week and a half ago attend a show, a paranormal show at the Pottstown Elementary School in Middletown, Ohio, and they have a website. I have a little bit of empathy in me, but very little. As anyone knows me, I try to wrestle it down as much as possible. There was some stuff going on. We saw footprints in areas, children's footprints in areas where no one had been walking from the crew. And I can tell you, my size 13s were not the ones that made these prints. There were also
at an elementary school, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, there were various other phenomena that happened. Not to me personally in this area. My specialty is graveyards, apparently. But our friend Amy Hale, somebody caught with an infrared camera children playing behind her booth, and we were hearing things. And I was in this one dry goods area. I got a small tour of the building. And there had been deaths there, not only accidents with the children themselves, but I guess there was like a railway behind the building at one point. And, big trains, people get careless, stuff happens. And so you hear things, and I just felt like this overall chill in certain areas. Plus, people said that they had found this is a room that you turn out the hallway lights, and there's no illumination in the dry goods room. So it's like darker than a coal mine at midnight. And people were seeing this pair of small shoe tips that were glowing white. When they did put some light on that area, everyone in that corner was wearing dark shoes. So, so as if I were talking to the doctor, you brought that up. If I were talking to the doctor and I told him about, say, my time slip experience at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, chances are we would probably be hustled into the TARDIS, and I would have my life imperiled in so many creative ways. And, probably hooked to electrodes by some alien would-be conqueror in places like that. So. I'm only revealing this on the internet because no one goes there, and I know you all keep my secret. So,
no, it's not. We're not showing this live to thousands of people right now. Your secret is safe with us.
That was close.
that was, yeah. We missed the gun out there. Gene, I got a question for you. Do you believe in ghosts, sir?
Do I believe in ghosts?
Yes.
I am trying to remember any experiences that I've had that could be classed as paranormal encounters, and to be honest, I can't think of any.
Gotcha. Nothing on Brian's level, thank God.
No, nothing like that. I think that what we perceive as ghosts probably have some other explanation. I mean, there's always an answer. So just because you've seen something doesn't mean something isn't there. And I take such reports of paranormal activity quite seriously, because you never know what the real underlying explanation is. But I've never had any direct paranormal experience like that.
So, okay, so just wrapping up right now, Melanie is kind of sitting on the fence. She's like, maybe yes, maybe no. Brian has had some paranormal experience, or at least whatever he does on the weekends. He doesn't have to go any further than what he's just told us. But Gene, you're a little skeptical. You're looking, I would say, more rational for the scientific explanation rather.
I believe that there's something that we call ghosts, but as to whether or not it's actually what we traditionally think of as being as a ghost, that's an open question. That's an open question.
Gotcha. No, that's a very legitimate question out there. Speaking of legitimate questions, I don't think I need to ask, but I'm going to hear it anyway. Melissa, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah. Thank you.
Or is that just your nice Halloween decoration in the background down there?
Well, this is Halloween 365 here at Parahouse TV, so it's always looking like this.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me first say this.
Okay.
If I was going to talk to the doctor, I would give him not only a scientific explanation, but I would give him a personal experience, and I have lots of them. And I would start with the scientific approach, and that is this. Energy never dies. It's not created nor destroyed. So therefore, when we die, our energy has to go somewhere. That's a scientific fact. So with that said, when your energy goes on, it has to go somewhere. Right. And we also know scientifically that there are 12 dimensions in the universe, and each dimension has 12 parallels. Therefore, you have 144 options.
And Walmart's one of them.
If you're an interdimensional or intergalactic, you travel between the dimensions. What's keeping me and you from walking through a wall is that our frequency is not high enough. If we were to be a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh dimensional being, we could walk through walls. Everything is energy. Everything is frequency. Your frequency, I'm frequency. Ghosts are frequency. Ghosts are energy. So ghosts are really just a Hollywood word that we give to things that we can't explain. So that would be my scientific explanation. My personal explanation, which I have a lot of them, is not only as an investigator have I seen with scientific tools that electrical engineers use, a lot of people in the paranormal world. I have a whole case full of tools. And I have seen with my own eyes using scientific methods that, yes, they do exist. Okay. We don't like to call them ghosts necessarily because that's too Hollywoodized. It's more like, energy, spirits, entities that are passed on. They could be interdimensional. They could be intergalactic. There's a lot of explanations out there. Just because you haven't had a personal experience doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Look at a lot of things in our culture, in our society, that you don't see but you believe in. We can't see Wi-Fi, but we know it's there. That's a very good analogy. Wi-Fi is what? A frequency, right?
Right.
So just because our human eyes can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Dogs and cats are a perfect example of that because they see things that we don't. Our eyes as humans suck. I'm just going to say that. We don't see anything. We hardly see anything that's around us because our eyes are very limited. But if you were to see what was around you, you'd probably be scared out of your mind because you would not believe what's around us at all times. So just because you haven't had a personal experience doesn't mean anything. They do exist. They are all around us, and there's a lot of evidence to support it.
Well, to be perfectly honest, the Wi-Fi in this area, you wouldn't be able to see anyway if it did exist because the service is just that's the kind of service that we deal with. Yeah, so yeah. You really have to have a good imagination.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You know, if you've ever been to a haunted location, or if you've ever been in the presence of another energy, a lot of times the temperature will drop. Okay, it's not because of air conditioning. Just saying. It's because there is something that is in the area that is actually affecting the energy in that area. If you've ever been someplace and the hair on your arms stand up when you don't know why, perhaps it's because there's an entity around. So there's a lot of things, and a lot of times we kind of ignore it because we're not receptive to it. We're not taught how to be receptive to things that are outside, you know, kind of the norm. I like to think the paranormal is the normal and everything else is the abnormal, because actually there's a lot of paranormal stuff that goes around in our world that we just don't even pay attention to.
Gotcha. And for those of you who want to be involved with the chats, if you have anything you want to let us know, Geek America Radio, this might explain why the Catholic Church refers to the term Holy Spirit when it was addressed as Holy Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's a good analogy, actually. There's a lot of evidence. If you got to know where to dig, and you have to sometimes decipher what our culture has kind of manipulated to benefit its own. Because when you do that, you actually start to get more of the correct answers. But like I said, energy, it's all energy. Everything's energy. This is why nothing scares me, because it's all energy. It's either positive or negative. It never dies. It's never created. So when we die, our energy has to go to something else. And a lot of times that's the stuff that you're seeing as ghosts.
Gotcha. Let me bring in Melanie and Jean, who are kind of just sitting on the fence slightly there. I know Jean is a little bit more skeptical on this, but Melanie and Jean, either one of you can start this. What would be the catalyst? What would be that thing that you would need to see or that you would need to do to experience to feel this is a paranormal experience? This is what I've got. I totally believe in it right now. What would be that one thing that you need to see? What kind of proof? What are you looking for there?
I think it just has to be my own experience. Honestly, I have not had my own experience. I've had other people tell me. I've had other people tell me what was going on, or did you see just what happened, or just like the elevator kind of following us around. I need a little bit more than just hearing a sound over there. And that's just because I've just never experienced. So it could be a sight, it could be a hearing, it could be the feeling, it could be whatever. It just has not happened to me.
Gotcha. There, Jean, what would be the moment or the thing that would drive you to go, okay, I believe in ghosts?
I would have to say a direct physical experience, a direct sensory experience, something where I see the apparition before me. I think that's what it would take. Human beings have a remarkable capacity for filling in the gaps in their knowledge with their imagination. And of course, this is where our explanation of the physical world came from originally, because prior to science, all we had was our imagination. And so you have the Greek and Roman pantheon of gods who were rarely any better behaved than their human counterparts. You know, I mean, if you want some steamy tabloid stuff, go read up Greek mythology.
Well, would you be satisfied? Let's say, was it? Somebody correct me. EVPs, where you record.
Yeah, right.
If somebody actually physically responded back to questions of it, would that be good enough, or would you want something more physically tangible, like an appearance or an apparition? I stumped you, Gene.
For my part, I would say, I would quote Ron Weasley's dad when he tells his son, never trust anything that talks if you can't see where it keeps its brains.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit of take there.
So yeah, information and physical effects can be manipulated or faked. Heck, I've done it. I used to do practical effects for motion pictures, and the whole idea is to make something happen that should not be possible.
Right.
So I would need to see. I as a former effects guy, and an animator, and you know, I've done a lot of stuff. I've created a lot of illusions. I would need to see the real deal.
So you would need something that would be no question. This is interaction. This is physical or audio interaction, and I know that this is
visible or audio interaction. Well, even audio interaction. You know, even that can be faked. Like a voice that only you can hear, for example. All you need is a parabolic. Is a parabolic reflector speaker. I mean, you know, there are kiosks that you can stand under and you can hear the sound, and it's rich and full, and nobody outside the parabolic dome that you're standing under can hear even a whisper. There are so many ways that you can fabricate that.
Right.
So I would need to see something remarkable.
I would say, you know, in our world, there's a lot of things that we cannot see, but we have our 100% faith in. Whether it's, you know, whole religions are based on something that you can't see and it's hearsay. The medical science, you know, are based on things that you can't see. We can't see germs. We can't see any of these things, but yet, you know, we all react in a certain way to certain things, right? Just because you can't see it, touch it, hear it, smell it, taste it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Well, I just I'm trying to lean over to see a little bit. I just think that personally, I'm a frisbeeist. We believe that when you die, your soul goes up in the roof and you can't get it down.
By the way, is anybody going to ask me if I believe in ghosts?
Hey, Christian, do you believe in ghosts?
Absolutely, but I'll answer that question when we return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to be part of the experience and the legend.
Hi, I'm Claudia Christian with some exciting updates in the Sinclair Method world. First of all, we launched our new coaching page. It's yoursinclairmethod.com, so you can go there and book a session with one of our fabulous coaches. You can also reach that page by visiting c3foundation.org. It's at the top of the landing page of the website. The second piece of news is Journeys is out. Woohoo! This book has been a long time in the making, and it is available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and there's a limited amount of signed copies at c3foundation.org. So get your copy of Journeys now and visit the coaching page for some wonderful support. If you're on the Sinclair Method, you can book a session with a variety of different coaches. Take care and be well.
Author Cindy Koepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
unleashing hunters into the ruin wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
I thought this was a cute little bit of trivia here. This is Emmy Award and I believe Oscar Award winning composer John Debney. Now, John Debney in 1993 actually was the composer for the movie Hocus Pocus, the Disney film starring Bette Midler, Daryl Hannah. He did the compose for the music, but this was
Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah. Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy
Najimy? Sarah Jessica Parker. I'm sorry, Sarah Jessica Parker. Sorry.
What? Sorry.
It was that.
Sorry,
yeah,
I was like, wait, what?
Well, thank you for the correction there. Well, he was the composer in the 1993 film Hocus Pocus, but 3 years later, I thought this was just a nice bit of trivia. He would go on to do the Doctor Who TV movie. So there's your connection with Hocus Pocus and Doctor Who. There he is. Was done by John Debney. And welcome back, folks, to Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. We're on this spooky adventure going and asking the question, Doctor, do you believe in ghosts out there? And I'm just going to say this, because I was a big fan when Ghost Adventure started on the Sci-Fi Channel a while back with Jason and Grant, and I know they've made a comeback recently. But I'm one of the, I think I go on Melanie's camp. I want to believe. I want to believe wholeheartedly in ghosts. I do. I just haven't had that catalyst that pulls the needle over. And I think that I think I could say the same thing with Brian, that has brought me into the world of saying, yes, I believe in the paranormal. And believe me, I've been to St. Augustine enough times, very skeptical, but I love the stories when you go to St. Augustine, Florida. Those are more, I think, more entertaining than actually finding out more about the paranormal, about the city and the culture, and how life was in that town since all the wars that came through there. When it was, I think it was occupied by the Spanish, it was occupied by the French or the British, and then the United States would eventually take over. But one time, I think I had a paranormal experience. Now, I can't rule it out either, because there is a cemetery off of Goldenrod Road in Orlando I think it's the Greenwood Cemetery. I think that's what the name of it is. Anybody wants to correct me in the chats. But the Greenwood Cemetery has what they call a moonlight tour of the cemetery. This is awesome. And it was the same thing, because what's interesting is if you go into Orlando, you see all these streets in downtown like Livingston and Jefferson and all these names. Believe it or not, there's people in the cemetery that those streets were named after. So it's kind of cool not only to recognize the story behind why that street is named, the reason why it's named that, but to hear the story of how their lives were. Having said that, during the Moonlight tour that we had, I was given a flashlight. And somebody said, why don't you just ask the question? I just, okay. If you're here, shut off my light. And the light went off. And I kept walking and said, okay, well, if you're here, turn it back on. Boom, the light came back on again. This happened 3 times in succession. and I could not make it up. And I was like holding the flashlight because you know how it is if you're tilted the right way. And I know people say that if your subconscious might move the flashlight so that it wants to turn on or it wants to turn off. So I was trying to rule it all out.
3 times in a row is a good test.
Yeah, 3 times in a row. Off, on, off, on, off. It was literally on command, and then like after the 3rd time, I just could not explain it. Now, whether that was a paranormal experience, if it was my hand just having to tilt the flashlight the right way, but I just it was just interesting, and I was like, that's really the only time I've kind of had a paranormal experience.
Well, like graveyards is a good place there, Christian. I'm just saying. A lot of residual energy going on there. I went to the same cemetery. I know exactly where you're talking about. And I did an investigation there. And it was 88 degrees with 85% humidity on the particular day there.
Good grief.
And I got goosebumps. I was freezing cold. I was standing next to a family that had children buried. I don't know what the story was there, but all of a sudden I had my EMF reader in one hand. I had my cell phone in the other. And my hands and my arms were being pulled down to the ground. Now, I'm a pretty strong woman, so you're not going to knock me down very easily. But I was being pulled and tugged down towards the ground. And what I came to the conclusion was it was the children. I am a mother, and being a female, I think I had the ghost of those children pulling on my arm, like little kids do. And the temperature dropped. I had goosebumps. It was all caught on camera live. There's no way that you can manipulate that. And we also had a very high EMF reading, one that if you were an electrician and it was in the red, which was a very, very high reading, you would get out of that area because of the danger of the EMF reading. So that spiked, had the goosebumps, and then I had the actual physical pulling on my arms. So for me, that's 3 things. 3 strikes, you're out. That was definitely paranormal. Yeah.
Well, Brian, when you were at Bachelor's Grove, was there a moment in there that you said, okay, I can't explain this. This is paranormal. This I truly believe at this moment when you wrote your book, when you wrote your book, Bachelor's Grove. What was there any moment that you just couldn't explain and said, yes, this is paranormal, and I've got I can't explain it anymore. I can't explain it any different.
Probably. Well, I've been there twice. The first time didn't really have anything aside from the general feeling of creepiness and the fact that I had been photographed. We were involved in taking some promotional shots for a comic book I was writing at the time, and you couldn't see my breath throughout the whole thing. And it was quite cold out that day, and I was a little chilled. Maybe my core temperature went down a little bit enough that my breath wasn't coming out with visibly. But the second time, when I had the aforementioned time slip, and the fact that I was holding a digital camera, and every time I held it, there's one headstone that is just like huge, and it's supposed to be the center of where electronics don't work quite right. And every time I aimed my camera at that stone, the shutter kept going off again and again and again and again. Turned away, it stopped. And I was looking at the I have a little gauge that tells me how much power I have on that thing, and it was almost depleting itself before my eyes. And I had put fresh batteries in it in the parking lot across the street.
Right.
And I was still having trouble with my cell phone. It was having power troubles too, which is something else that's reported in that cemetery. And this continued for about another 3 weeks after I left. And then I didn't do anything to my phone. I didn't change the battery. I didn't run all those power saver programs or whatever. But about 3 weeks later, almost to the day, it was back to normal. And, I just, and the thing is my camera also, I tested it when I got home, and I shook it. I turned it every which way. And the only time that shutter went off was when I hit the button. So I'd have to say that, again, I'm going to say that I don't disbelieve, but I have no choice but to put those experiences that I had that day in Bachelor's Grove in the paranormal category, the inexplicable stuff.
Well, that's really the definition of paranormal, isn't it? It's just something you can't explain. It doesn't have to be a ghost. But there's nothing that prevents it from being a paranormal experience, even if it isn't one. Just in the same way that a UFO doesn't necessarily mean aliens from space. Right. It's just a flying object. Nobody can figure out what it was. You know, unidentified flying object. That's all it means.
Right. And until somebody can figure out a way to quantify what happened to me, then we'll move it to another folder, being efficient as we are. But until then, we're just gonna put that in the X file, so to speak. So
exactly.
Well, Brian, oftentimes what happens is entities will actually draw energy from your electronic devices. That's how they actually gain their strength, is by drawing energy from an electronic device. So oftentimes, those of us that are paranormal investigators, when we go out, we'll have a fully charged 100% camera or a cell phone, and it'll drain like that.
That goes along with your energy explanation, which I like a lot. I really do.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. That's where they get their energy to manifest something to happen. Whether it's slamming a door shut, maybe it's making an object move, maybe it's making a noise, maybe it's touching somebody. I've had scratches. I've had all kinds of stuff. I know people that's had bite marks. I've had people that's had all kinds of things happen that is not explainable. So it's kind of interesting. Definitely. Understand what happened with your technology there, your device. Oftentimes they will drain energy from it.
Okay, thank you.
We got a question from Carl Witzman. It says, if ghosts could be a time slip from the past, could a UFO be a time slip from the future?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Ghosts can sometimes be a residual energy. When you have had a tragedy happen in a location, especially one like the Civil War, something that had a lot of violence, whenever you have that happen, you have a residual energy left there because it was such a violent act. A lot of emotions, a lot of negative energy happens. And remember what I said at the beginning of the show, energy never dies and it's never created. So it has to go somewhere. And when it's in a concentrated area, it's called residual energy. And that those of us in the paranormal investigation community, we are aware of that. We do our history, we do our education and research, and we know what's going on in that area. If it's actually got residual energy, we take that into account when we do our research.
Gotcha there. Melissa, what would you say, let's say if the doctor is skeptical, based upon your knowledge and your experiences, what would you tell the doctor to say, no, that is paranormal? What would you use as an experience to explain to the doctor, no, doctor, you're wrong. That is paranormal, what you just saw.
Right. Well, I mean, again, when you look at,
and I know it has to be the actual event, the actual thing. But I'm just going based upon your experiences there.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me cut it.
Well, I mean, when you've got 3 or 4 different paranormal devices, and they're all measuring different, maybe frequencies or temperature or whatever they're measuring. When you got 4 different scientific tools that are all giving you readings that are not normal, that should be a lot of proof right there. And then you just go with your 5 senses. If you are smelling something, which by the way, that happens. I have been out in the middle of nowhere with nobody and smell smoke, smell perfume. There's a lot of things like that go on.
That's normally happening at Brian's house most of the time. So
it's Friday, okay?
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that go into it. But I mean, if I were talking to the doctor, I would give that kind of proof to him, and say, okay, well then, how do you explain this, and this reading if it's not paranormal? What other explanation is there? What's going to make a temperature suddenly drop if there's no wind current, no air conditioning? What's going to make that happen and only happen for 2 minutes? Or what's going to make the frequency in that room skyrocket? Or what's going to happen? I mean, there's so many measurable devices that can actually take an activity and make it scientific, if you want to look at it that way.
Gotcha. Carl Witzman continues, quantum physics wrecks our entire view of the solid universe. Dang it.
Yeah.
That is true. Quantum physics, essentially, the fundamental, one of the fundamental concepts is that at the quantum level, atomic particles are made of quarks, and the definition of a quark is a motion, a specific motion, but a motion of nothing. So essentially, it's what they're saying is that a quark is a synchronized ripple in the fabric of space-time.
Like ketchup.
So yeah, no.
How to get the ketchup to go down the bottle, maybe.
Never comes out.
Shake and shake the ketchup bottle, none'll come and then a lot'll. Ogden Nash. But the idea is that not only are our physical forms expressions, can our physical forms be expressed as waves of a particular complex frequency or collection of frequencies, they can also be defined at the quantum level. Our thought processes happen actually multidimensionally, not just three-dimensionally in chemomechanical processes, but multidimensionally as well, using aspects of quantum physics that nobody quite understands yet. So when we leave this world, what happens to that energy? Well, it does go somewhere. Where it goes, I don't know. Does it retain its pattern? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I love quantum physics.
I'm certainly have an open mind. It's possible.
Well, hang on a second, Melissa, because my brain has turned into ketchup and I got to pay some bills. So when we return, we're going to wrap up our discussion.
That energy's going to a commercial.
He's going to commercial.
Absolutely.
Doctor, do you believe in ghosts? When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. Here we go.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
This is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend. And we saved the best commercial for the last because I just wanted to make an announcement to everybody. First of all, this is a big thank you to everybody. And what I mean by this, thank you everyone. Today marks the second year that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS has been in existence. Our first debut That's why I was talking about, Gene. Our first episode took place October the 6th, 2018, and we did a 30-minute episode for Krypton Radio when we all started back then. And Gene wrote to me and goes, "Can you make that an hour-long show after that episode?" And from there, it's just been a long history. So today was Saturday, back then 2 years ago on October the 6th, and it was the day before Jodie Whittaker would premiere, and our show was a premiere episode. And I believe, Melanie, were you there? Or you came in like second, third episode, right?
I think I might have come in on the third. I can't remember. I need to go back and check, because I do know it was a 30-minute episode followed by, I think, a 40-minute episode, and then we went to an hour.
We just essentially gone up, and now what you see is what you get here, what we've done on Facebook, on the YouTube, and then slowly, if you haven't heard the story that I've always been telling, Garrett gives me a call from the Hanging with Webb show. It was the best Christmas gift ever. He goes, "You're now part of iHeartRadio." And the following month, I get a call from Garrett, says, "By the way, you're on radio.com, cbsradio.com. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, we're everywhere. Thank you so much for being with us." And not only that, but to make our second year very special, we are very much closing in, and we've been saying this practically every episode. We're closing in on 40,000 subscribers on our Facebook page. And as of right now, October 6, 2020, we have 38,570 people subscribed to our Facebook page. I don't know where you people come from. I love you just the same. I know you're Whovians, or you like a little blue box there. But about 8 years ago, this little blue box started the travels. 2 years ago, the podcast came out. And now I want to thank you all for becoming part of the legend. I want to thank all of our wonderful panel here. I can't thank you enough. Thank Jessica, Melanie, who has been my biggest support. I can't do the show without her. The Hanging With team. No, Melanie does a great job. I would be going completely nuts on this show. She really has been a great support. Jessica, the Hanging With Web show people, Nico, Kevo, Misha, Mackenzie, Brian Buress, Mark Muncie. Speaking of Halloween, Mark Muncie, Brian Buress. And if guys are forgetting your name, I just don't have my list with me. But I mean, there's just a team of people who just help us out every single week of every single convention. And it's been an immense challenge since 2020, when we've had to go online. Unfortunately, the virus we don't speak about hit us. But Joe McHale says 40,000 by October 31st. Okay. Still saying it. Okay, I know Meredith I know Meredith.
Whoa, his mic cut out. I don't think he knows.
Your mic went out, buddy.
I'm Christian Basil, and I'm really grateful. So thank you, everyone.
Did that work?
There we go.
That's better.
Okay.
I so excited. Your mic cut off.
I got so excited. And
the ghost.
It was
exactly. But I want to wrap up and say I want to thank everybody who's listened, who's been there since day one of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, all the way back when it started 8 years ago. To everybody who's been listening to the podcast or watching the podcast now, we want to thank you all. And that's no ghost lie there. We want to thank everybody there. And I want to wrap up and give everybody a chance over here. We're about to wrap up the show, but I want to make sure we get everybody on this panel. Definitely check out us on Krypton Radio, 24-hour geek music, geek podcasts, beautiful stuff. And we can't do the work without Gene and Susan and all the terrific staff over there at Krypton Radio. We want to thank Gene so much for being a part of the legend, making us part of the legend out there. Brian, I only have the one picture. I apologize. I only have the Rising Tide picture there. But tell everybody about the Haunting Scripts Bachelor's Grove and where they can get it. There you go. Oh, there it is, the Rising Tide there. And
this is analog. We don't do digital. Anyway, you can always rely on analog people.
There you go.
But Christian, thank you for having me on here. It is a blessing and an honor to be here on this momentous occasion, dude. I wasn't aware of it, but thank you very much. But loath as I am to talk about myself, Rising Tide Publications, where we publish books and comics, including sold in 6 different countries, Santa Stein, the post-holiday Prometheus, and the Haunting Scripts of Bachelor's Grove, plus adventure books like Skyman, the original Skyman, Battles Master's Theme, and Volcano, Rebirth of the Champion, and more.
Power strip. He's got plugs coming out of everywhere.
more like getting the hook out. But
yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do live broadcasts on YouTube and Facebook called Nevermind the Furthermore, interactive talk show. Why there? Thank you very much. It's a fun 2 hours. It'll get your week going. And we also do a show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. called Clever Title Pending, where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. Thank you. And tonight we are going to have Michaela Jade, and keep watching us every Tuesday. We're also on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Spotify. I just found out about that recently.
Did you say the YouTube? You said the YouTube channel, right? Subscribe to Brian K. Morse on the YouTube channel.
Please do. We can use your support because we have algorithms to battle.
And last but not least, the lovely, lovely, lovely Gene Turbo. No, I'm kidding. Melissa Kennedy. Please tell us where everybody can subscribe and check you out there. Speaking of checking you out, that picture still disturbs me whatsoever.
Well, I appreciate your time and having me on your show, Christian. As always, it's a blessing to have me be a part of this show. I'm always really grateful for that. Check out ParaHouseTV.com. We are the brand new paranormal network. We have podcasts, we have shows. In fact, we just had A&E's Ghost Hunters on our network. We have shows 7 nights a week. We also have a magazine coming out. We are doing all kinds of exciting things. So if paranormal is your thing, you definitely want to check out ParaHouseTV.com. And see what we're all about, because we're doing things a lot differently. So if you're into UFOs, cryptids, ghosts, any of that kind of stuff, ParaHouseTV.com.
And make sure you don't get Sarah Jessica Parker up with Dara Hannah like I did earlier today there. Melanie, just tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram.
At Pieces at Melee, just plug that in there. You can find me there. I'm currently working on a new series of scientists right now for portraits because, well, they're portrait artists. And now that Christmas is coming around, I'm starting to sneaking in some more commissions, like mostly pets. So that's starting to happen. And you'll probably be seeing that if you watch on Facebook, on StreamYard, using this little platform here. You'll see me live paint. So there you go.
And again, everybody, thank you for listening and becoming part of the legend. Please stay safe out there. And actually, you know what? I'm going to let Brian end the show the way he normally ends his show, because I like the way he ends the show there. So, Brian, go for it. Take in the last word and become part of the legend.
My honor. All right, everybody out there, thank you for being here on Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great evening, everyone.
And now we're doing, if you guys want to stick around, you're more than welcome to. We'll get to chats that we didn't get a chance to hit upon, but we are at the after broadcast. So if you guys want to stay around, that's fine. I know, Brian, you got to do your thing with Michaela J. But were there any comments we didn't get to, Melanie?
Carl Witzman said this was another quantum event.
Yeah, that was the only thing.
Oh, that was the only thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, there. This thing. I did this for the
little arrangement there.
Yeah. I did this for the Halloween Horror Night episode that they had for Fan Expo, and I just got it together. But it was just like, I need a table or something because I keep kicking with my foot there.
That's pretty nice.
I had Carlene. Hey. I've had several connections with one of my ancestors, both seeing and hearing. Okay. Which ancestors, Carly?
It may take a minute to get a response.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. As much time as there. Melissa, I feel so bad about UFO Con. I really do. Are you going to try? Are you going to do anything like an online version of it? Because I was hoping that you would join that club there.
Well, we're checking into some options. We're looking at 2021 doing another UFO con. Probably going to do a Parahouse con as well. We're going to be part of Texas Paracon at the Dallas Convention Center. We'll be the only multimedia company there and publishing company with all of our paranormal books and magazines and shows and everything. So yeah, we got a lot going on, but with this whole virus thing, it's got everything all crazy. So I don't know. I'd like to do something online, but we'll see.
Because we almost did it. We almost did. We almost got to the border, and then it didn't happen. By the way, for the folks who are just joining us on the YouTube channel, or the panelists who may not be familiar with the after party broadcast, the audio version of the show is over. That part is going to be going into the can, but this is still being recorded. This is still live. This is still going out to the YouTube and Facebook. This is just so that folks who still want to interact with us or have some last minute chats, you're more than welcome to join up on there. And I like the fact that you can't spell Cindy Koepp without PP. Brian knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Italian blood ancestor, which means a lot since I'm adopted there.
Wow.
Here's what's driving me. I don't want to poke fun at the ghost hunters because I love Jason and Grant. I love them to death. I haven't seen the new stuff, but Melissa, I hate to say this. Did Jason just go off the rim for a while? Because he used to be the most skeptical person on the show, and then all of a sudden, like season 3 or 4, everything was paranormal.
Yeah,
he saw a speck of dust. It was paranormal. I was just like, Jason, what the heck?
In fact, that's been like my ongoing joke about everything. It's like, oh, it's dust,
Yeah, exactly.
It's dust. And, to be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, it is something like that. It really is. It's totally debunkable. But, it's the other 1 to 10% that we get really excited about. And that goes for UFOs, paranormal. It doesn't matter. It's that 1 to 10% that we can't explain that we concentrate on and gets us really excited. So I don't know what's going on with him. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. So I'm not the only one who believes that, right? I'm just like,
yeah, maybe he's just having a bad year. I don't know.
I'm just like, this is paranormal.
He's the one. He's the one.
Yeah, exactly. He's the one there. You've seen the pictures now of the St. Augustine. I was a little skeptical because they have now, and I didn't see anything paranormal, which I thought would be like almost instant. I went to the medieval torture museum that's located on the second one. You know what I'm talking about, Melissa? Yeah. There's a medieval torture museum in St. Augustine. You go up the stairs, and I think that's on St. George Street. It's on the corner of St. George Street.
So, yeah.
And there are, it literally is medieval torture items, and you go down this hallway and they do different things. And what's kind of cool is you can actually, some of the items you can interact with. I think now they have something where you can go on your cell phone and play the audio, and they tell the stories about everything because of the COVID thing. But the guy told me about, and he just blurted out, it was part of a conversation, and he goes like, oh yeah, it's right past the sexual torture devices. I'm like, what?
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
That's when the SWAT team was called to get a Christian out of there.
Yeah. I think I posted on my personal face. I did not dare post it on the Traveling TARDIS page.
Yeah.
I picked 6 items that I didn't think would offend anybody. Or was really covered. I just I have all these pictures of the Traveling TARDIS with these torture items. I was just like, oh God, this would be a great Halloween thing. But then I was looking at them like,
no,
this is going to scare the crap out of people. So I
that's serious torture. No.
Yeah, I picked 6 pictures that were kind of, and I cleaned them up and I, edited down so it wouldn't look so graphic. But I was just like, I'm not going to take a picture of that one room. But yeah, there were some torture items where I don't want to get into detail, but somebody was well endowed. One of the devices, there's this just big thing, and I was just looking at it. It's just like, my God! And and you were listening to the audio and how they were explaining these torture devices. But the point I'm just getting to, nothing Paranormal. I was waiting for it. There's the audio of screams and little things and the music and all that. And some of these were the actual devices. And I was just waiting for something to come around the corner going, hey, dude, this is a torture device.
Oh my gosh, that's creepy.
I think my favorite personal observation is that paranormal just means two normals in the same room.
There was nothing normal about the back room.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like, I was on a movie shoot back in, I think, the early 80s, and I don't even remember what the film was for. They had wanted it was a demo for a feature that they wanted to do that I don't think they ever got to do. But they wanted a man to be haunted in part by a flying checkbook with eyes and teeth. And I was the guy that did the radio-controlled flying checkbook. But the house is, I think, somewhere in Glendale, California. And it's kind of a creepy old place with a bay windows and a rotunda and a tower. And the people who lived in it were like as weird as the Addams Family. And in the basement, there was the sex dungeon. And we as a crew, we were sort of going through the house and looking at where we could set things and where we could set things up. And we were shooting inside the house and this kind of thing. And we found that room, and the owner of the place said, yeah, you can use your imagination as to what goes on in here. And I said, whatever you can imagine probably happens.
Well, they were bored. They didn't have Wi-Fi back then, so they were bored out of their mind. So, hey, let's come up with something creative. I wish I knew where that house was, because I didn't drive myself there, so I don't remember where it was. But it was the neat house. It just, the real life incarnation of the Addams Family, just living there, and I'm sure that place has some stories to tell.
People now are going onto Google Maps and just canvas Glendale. And just
they probably are.
We can do this.
I have no idea. You never guessed that the place had that in it from the outside, but it's a beautiful house, just wonderful place. They just happen to have this sex dungeon in the basement.
Oh, Melanie, I forgot to tell you about this. So the last time I was at St. Augustine, Chrissy and I were freaked out, totally freaked out.
Where?
We were staying at a hotel, and it's one of those hotels that somehow they. No. This is St. Augustine.
I know.
And,
on the road.
Sorry. It was. It was in town. It was in.
So it's not like on St. George Street when the B&B's there. You were probably
just a couple blocks away.
Okay,
a couple of blocks away. I think the Southern Oaks. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but the Southern Oaks Inn. There used to be this hotel called the Jaybird Inn. It's changed names now, but it's in that area.
Okay.
And there was a home across the street from where we were staying, and I was walking out one day with Chrissy, and there's a woman. I'm not kidding you. I could not even try to make this up. She's on her second floor window, curtain wide open, and she's just standing there. And we were both staring at her. She didn't move about. She was real. She didn't move. She didn't say anything. She didn't do anything. She didn't budge.
Was she holding a light? Was it the Rum Runners? Was it the Rum Runner lady from the one ghost tour?
No, this was somebody's living place. They were living there, and this was in broad daylight. So we came back, and there she was. She was still staying there, standing in the same position, staring out at the hotel. Just look. I was just like freaking out. Like, not a mannequin.
Maybe
you could
she
tell
crazy.
That she was. I'm apparently so. But we came out one night, and the window was open. She wasn't. The curtains were open. She wasn't there. And then when we went to do a ghost tour, we came back. The curtain was closed. And I'm like, this is so freaky. This is completely free. I can't
make part of a ghost tour.
I wish.
It'd be fun.
But the funny part about it is unfortunately her window was on the other side of the hotel. So where we parked is where we could see her, but once we got inside the hotel, we were on the opposite side, so we couldn't see her building anymore. So we literally had to walk out of the room, go across the hallway to see what was going on, and it was just freaky. And we were just watching this, this woman who was just watching. I don't know if she was just watching us or if she was watching what was going on, but she was still there, standing perfectly still,
living her best life. And it which is awesome. Yeah. That is what I want to do when I grow up. When I become old, me and Kevin can retire to St. Augustine and just freak the hell out of people.
Exactly. Well, mission accomplished. Thank you very much. I hope you're listening to the podcast. So
I'm going to have to go, sweetie. I got another thing to do. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I would just like to say to all your listeners that in our world, we have a lot of things that we can't see, can't touch, but they are there, and we have faith that they're there. So next time you might feel something, who knows? Maybe it's paranormal. Maybe it is a ghost. You never know. So, All right. Thank you for having me. Nice meeting you all. And happy hauntings. It's October. It's spooky season. So,
I know. So definitely check out the Parahouse. Is it parahouse.com?
ParaHouseTV.com.
TV.com there. Please check it out.
Instagram, we're on Facebook, all that stuff. So thank you guys. It was a pleasure, and hope to see you all again soon, okay?
You got it. Take care of yourself there.
Thank you so much.
And I think I'm going to have to skate as well. If you're watching this, the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS got its start on Krypton Radio. We're very proud of that fact. Absolutely, if you are not signed up to follow Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on Facebook, go do it, because they're getting very close to their 40,000 miles.
Melody's got the look.
If you're not following Krypton Radio, go find
you better
and do it. We are completely listener-supported radio. We depend entirely on your donations. Patreon.com is the website. Patreon.com/Krypton Radio is the website, and there's a button on the KryptonRadio.com website that will take you straight there. We also have free player apps for every smartphone and tablet, and even your Alexa device. Just say, play Krypton Radio, and it will.
Exactly. And if you're somebody who just loves listening to geek, I've met there've been times I get on a long drive, pull up the app, and you're listening to Harry Potter, or you're listening to Star Wars or Star Trek or even Doctor Who. There's music playing all the time, and it's always geek music, and it's always fun music. It's always some cool stuff. And I've seen some what is it called? Filk? Is that what Filk music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Filk music. And we're the only full-time streaming radio station that plays that. Well, no, there's one other. I think it's the Fump.com. Fump Radio. They have it. But we're the only other station on earth that plays it besides them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And their radio station's on 24/7. So no matter where you're listening, when you're listening, there's always music or one of our podcasts playing. So definitely please check out
radio shows, podcasts, old time radio serials. It's all there.
Yeah,
it's a radio station you've probably been waiting for all your life.
Exactly. And nobody knows about it. So we're letting you know now.
Anyway,
don't tell that to Daryl Hannah.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time.
No, thank you, thank you, Gene, and thank you for 2 years, and to many more coming. Take care, brother.
You too.
Oh God, we're left with Brian.
Yes, that presence you feel at the foot of the bed, it may not be a ghost. It could be me with my cell phone.
Oh my God, vibrating. Yeah, yeah, you're on 5 days a week doing something now, aren't you?
Pretty much. And then I do guest shots and virtual conventions. Now I am doing something right now. I've started pre-recording some of my convention appearances.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
How long did it take me to figure this out?
We need really have to go live here.
Yeah. But it makes a lot of sense. And especially since somehow I booked myself for 2 virtual cons in one day, so they both can have me.
God.
I mean, that makes sense.
We need to do that.
There's so much virtual cons right now that everyone's wanting content, and they're asking the content creators, "Hey, can you do it?" And right now, I mean, with so much, you kind of need a pre-record.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense because to get really business-like about it, it's a lot of virtual cons have not figured out how to monetize it for their guests yet.
No.
And the thing is, it's not like, and you guys know this from running your show, that it's not, except for Christian tonight, you just don't like plop your butt behind the seat and launch the show. There's prep time, even if it's just psyching yourself up, getting all your ducks in a row just to be on the air. And then thinking about it as the day goes on, and all the prep, and then usually then we have a follow-up show like this, which I love, but it takes time away from other things. The creation that if you want to get mercenary about it, makes the money.
Yeah.
So doing this pre-recorded thing is going to work for me, because fortunately I work with some really good people who are delighted to have it. Thank you. And thank you. Bring Cookie home. Thank you so much.
If you don't know what that is, go to Brian K. Moore's, subscribe, and he'll explain to you. And you can watch the show with me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or his Clever Tile Penning on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
There we go.
But you'll understand what that means. And I wanted to do that for Brian. But oh my God, we're doing Saturday. We're doing New York Comic-Con and HarleyCon together the same day.
That's great.
So so the topic is, I'll let this out because if anybody wants to join us, when we do the live feed at HarleyCon, the question is, what horror monster would you like to the Doctor to fight? So the Wolfman, the Mummy, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, they're all game. And you have to tell us a little bit about how that would go down as far as the story is. Freddy?
Freddy.
Freddy. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Save it for Saturday.
Don't say anything else. I'm thinking Freddy.
So
that's all you get.
That's going to be Saturday, I think at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, if I'm not mistaken. We're finalizing everything with HarleyCon. So.
Oh, excellent. That sounds cool. I may try to be there for that, because I've got I'm helping a friend with a book reveal on Saturday morning. Kathy Jackson is revealing her brand new book, Written on My Heart, and she has foolishly given me a half hour to do whatever I want. So that can't
Very cool.
End well. That can't end well. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I love Kathy because we do a lot of shows together here in the Midwest, and she is the author of the very first romance book I could finish. I have tried reading romance just to see if I could do it, and I've read snippets of some of them very well mannered, some of them not at all mannered. And then I read hers, and it's an inspirational book too, so there's a very strong Christian theme to it, but I really enjoyed it. And then she wrote one called Jericho's Walls about two very broken people finding each other, and trying to get down the walls and everything. And there's one, and I know Kathy, she is one of the sweetest ladies alive. She's got a little spice to her, though. And I'm reading along in there, and at one point, the protagonist and the two protagonists, let us say, they're going to get together before the book is over. It's just inevitable. How they get there is the thrill. At one point, she says something. He gets incredibly frustrated, says something stupid. She turns on her heel to leave. Still angry, he pulls back the flat of his hand and swats her on the butt. And then the next page and a half is all the feelings going through her, not all of which were bad.
Okay.
And I'm like, Kathy? Kathy?
Speaking of which, I actually got a warning that your show starts in 30 minutes. So
yeah, maybe I'll just show up like it seems to work.
So show up. I just like everybody going like, you need prep time, and it's just like I tried to get in 15 minutes early.
3 minutes. Shows up 3 minutes early before. And you're like, what?
No, because I was going from work to show run, and the thing is that whatever's happening was kerfuffling my computer. Yeah. So I got that blue spiral as I'm clicking on the StreamYard, and it's just like, oh, did you want to do a show today? Did you really want to do a show? Isn't this cute? You love this little blue circle? You're going to like it. I'm like, damn you.
I had the opposite last week. I hadn't, my buffer had filled up. You should reboot your computer every few days to clear the buffer.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't done it for about 3 weeks on this one. And last week I'm trying to sign off, and it's like, okay, goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. Finally I'm just like, screw it, I'm leaving. Oh, it'll all come out. I keep telling everybody my show is just one big blooper reel. So
my whole experience.
Leave now, unfortunately.
I'm gonna go too, but
I should too. But thanks for having me, guys.
No, thank you for coming on. My whole purpose of never mind the furthermore when I'm on, it's just me and a handful of people try to see if we can get Brian to blush as hard as possible from what we type on there.
It's not that I blush, but I try to keep things PG-13, not always successfully. And I'm not always saying it's the audience's fault either. So, Odell, good to see you, brother.
Oh, no, it's your fault. It's our fault. It's our fault. We try.
It's hashtag it's Brian's fault. It's always Brian's fault.
Bye, guys.
Home. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care, brother. Talk to you soon.
Brother.
All right.
That's it. That end broadcast.